Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Comics Pals Reviews. Today I am joined by Pete.
Yo.
Marco.
The Earth Thing.
And Tyler.
Yeah, Mark, you threw me off. I had a whole bit planned and everything. I don't even know what you went for there.
Tyler's just like, I can't top the Earth Thing.
And then for some reason, the guitar case behind you sort of looks like, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's like the frozen thumb that one bar in Alaska drinks in the bottle. That's a thing. Never mind.
All right.
There's a bar in Alaska that has this thumb that has been removed from a human hand that has frostbite or something on it, and it's pretty much dried up. And you can get a drink where you have to put it in a drink and drink it. And it's like
drink the whole, like you eat the finger?
You don't eat the finger. No, but you get a bit of the finger while you're drinking it.
Oof,
Tyler,
that's nasty. I don't
Tyler,
like that.
It's in the Yukon. It's in the Yukon.
If this was the bit, I don't think it would have landed.
It wasn't the bit. It wasn't the bit at all. No, but I looked towards your Zoom thing.
I appreciate the constructive criticism there. Though.
Wait, you have a Swamp Thing Christmas sweater?
Yeah,
You're surprised by that?
More surprised that it exists than surprised that Marco has
exactly.
it. Yeah,
exactly. That's exactly how I feel.
And I have another one in red.
Does it have Animal Man on it? Huh?
No, but it's Look at this guy. He does his homework.
No, I do my homework.
All right. Well, we've got 4 massive books to talk about today. This was a huge week. Marvel and DC both closing out 2021 with a bang. We're actually reviewing Inferno #3. Can't wait to talk about it. Devil's
I feel
Reign.
like whenever you laugh when you name something, I'm like, I'm not sure Sean liked that one. I don't ever see you happy laugh at something, Sean.
Well, you know what I'm laughing at, Tyler, because I was gonna say, hey, why don't we all show off our covers for Inferno? Then I realized I want a podcast with 3 people who don't physically buy comics. It's really sad.
I added a laugh track to that one because we're gonna laugh. I'm gonna add laugh tracks to anything you say now.
Go ahead. That's great.
Sorry,
love
guys. I
audience.
got some new toys now, and I just want to fuck with Sean a little bit. But
we've got Batman 118. This is the start of Joshua Williamson's run, and then of course closing out, we have the Swamp Thing. This is the end.
Okay.
Oh, okay. What's that, Tyler?
Nice.
That's the Brian Boland cover, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure
Damn,
is.
that's
You would
cool.
Like it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm near a comic shop now, so maybe.
Sean's got one of the 10 that they sent to New York this week.
So those are the 4 books we're going to be doing. We're excited to get into that. Before we do, Tyler, what is this face about?
I had a thought. Is it messed up you're buying a physical paper version of Swamp Thing because it's like you're killing trees for it?
Are you high?
It's
like
pieces of the green, Tyler.
I'm not. I'm like, would Swamp Thing approve of this? I don't know.
But see, Tyler, our digital editions are also NFTs, so we're probably doing more damage
It's true.
than Sean probably is.
My Ethereum is not doing too well right now. I need to go, I'm going to make an NFT and then buy my own NFT. So I still have the Ethereum, but then I also have the NFT and I can sell that again to some rube.
Well, I have an NFT. My first official NFT, I was going to say this on the show, but I have an NFT coming in from my purchase of tickets to see Spider-Man No Way Home.
Whoa.
They gave you an NFT?
They gave me an NFT, so I'm
Wait.
officially a part of the problem.
I thought it was only a shareholder could do it.
It was the first 80,000.
Damn.
But shareholders, no?
That's not what I heard.
What are you a shareholder of?
When I was buying the tickets, that's what it said.
It's supposed to be for AMC shareholders. You have to prove you're a shareholder, and they're going to give you an NFT.
Yo, I mean, if Sean just gets one of these like by accident, he's about to become a fucking millionaire.
Yeah, right? Actually,
Yeah, if you have NFT, you are a millionaire.
You sell this
Everyone knows
shitty
this.
JPEG of Spider-Man and get like a jillion Dogecoins or whatever, you know?
Just make sure you post it on your Instagram so I can screenshot it.
Wow, you're gonna
Posting on
steal
the
from Sean like that, Tyler?
really wrong.
You wouldn't steal a DVD. What's the thing? I don't know.
You wouldn't steal
Swamp
a car.
Theft.
Swamp Thing.
It's not a victimless crime, Tyler.
The green is
so
dying because of it.
I'm dying to move on so I can talk comics. If you want to support the show, there are plenty of ways that you can do that. Make sure that you guys are leaving us a follow, a rating, and a review wherever you listen to us. If that's YouTube, that's youtube.com/thecomics-pals. Leave us a subscription. Really helps us out a lot. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. Help us along that path. We'd really appreciate it. Like the video, share it with your friends, drop us a comment. You guys are always amazing about that. And if you leave a comment, we will read it on the main show, The Comics Pals, which drops every single Monday. We typically do the comments like first thing up, so you don't have to listen for long to hear us talk about what you had to say. But be careful, because if you write into the show and you criticize us or you say something like a little off.
Did they do that this week? I haven't listened to this week's show yet. I don't have much of a commute anymore. All right, cool. Guys, if you want to shit talk me, I'm not on the main show, so you can just fuck with me. I won't be able to respond.
I defend my friends though, so I will step up for you.
It would probably be justified though if they had criticism for me.
It depends.
This guy screenshot my NFT. Like
Tyler's a thief.
Confirmed. So we decided that we're not going to make you guys wait to hear us talk about the main event. We're going to do our Inferno review up front. Like, we're just going to start with that because this is the big book of the week. Every time it comes out, it feels like a real event. So we're just going to talk Inferno for the next, 30 minutes. Strap in. Of course,
Marco's making faces that make me think we're gonna bully him.
Marco's dude, 30 minutes. I only got like a 5-minute bit on this one. Jeez.
Only a fool would come onto this podcast and critique Inferno. We're not like reviewing it. We're dissecting it. There's a difference. There's no critiques here. Okay?
I don't think we've done less than 40 minutes on this book.
You're right, and we have the most people we've ever had to talk about Inferno. So we'll see what happens.
Shit.
Jonathan Hickman, RB Silva is joined by Stefano Caselli and Valerio Schiti on pencils. Adriano De Benedetto did the inks, David Curiel on colors, and Joe Sabino on letters. Tom Muller, of course, the designer. Wow, what a doozy of a comic book. Every issue of Inferno just gets crazier and crazier. I just can't even believe it. It's unreal. Tyler, you're making a face. Are you here to disagree?
A little bit.
Go ahead.
Let's do it. I think it's losing itself a little bit. Like
what?
I feel like there were a little too many little twist here, little twist there. To the point where I don't know, it was I was actually from the days of future past. Oh, I can't reach my laugh track button here, but
fail.
It's just, I don't know. It reminded me of some real Doctor Who timey-wimey shit where it kind of just forced itself to fit this. I don't know. There was a little too much going on for me.
Really, I'm so surprised by that.
And I think the typical Marvel event, this would be an event, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's all right, well, by issue 3, you're going to have 3 different artists, which was noticeable for me. I thought the most compelling thing, and I don't think that these words have ever been said in the history of comic books, was the Doug Ramsey part of it.
That's great.
Yeah, the whole fact that this guy has been a secret creepy security guy this entire time and knows everything that's going on. But we don't get full payoff of that, but I assume we will. I thought that was the most interesting part, but once we got to Nimrod and the Omega Sentinel and all that, where it's the Omega Sentinel's from the future and then sent to the past, or sorry, Nimrod is that, and then Omega Sentinel's from, it looks like one of Moira's past lives.
Yeah.
And she's always been that way, I don't know. I didn't dislike it, not at all. But I was feeling I was oh, okay. It's getting a little lost with it.
I think that was the only time where I don't think overall this mini event is losing its steam. I think that part of it, yeah. The Omega Sentinel in particular, I think was a weird way to introduce the character. It kind of felt like it came out of left field. And
is it an introduction to the character though?
Well, but I mean in at least with consequences to what's going on in this book, because to your point, Tyler, it's coming from a separate life.
She said maybe 5 lines this entire I guess generation of X-Men.
What? Have you been reading these comic books?
Oh, I've read every single X-Men comic book since. Maybe I just have overloaded my brain.
Yeah, I'm like really confused that you guys feel that way. Like I feel like she's been like lurking in I think like what?
Yeah, she's been lurking. That's the whole thing though. She's been lurking the entire time.
But you know what's funny? On the last review that we did, I literally called this.
I was gonna say, didn't we discuss this during either the first or second issue review? I feel like, and we also said the same. I think we talked about the thing with Doug too, like where like I feel like this issue was like paying off a ton of things that we've been talking about and theorizing about for so long, you know, and like
that were already on the table.
Yeah. And maybe it's because you and I think did the first two and it was just us and we talked about it for 40 minutes or whatever. And like set up all these, you know, expectations and then like were rewarded for that. I feel like, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like we're right back in like the Hoxpox era where it's like, I feel like this was all payoff, this whole issue.
I will say I thought it was good. I'm gonna say that. Like I don't think it was bad. I just was getting a little lost with it. Just admittedly for me. Maybe my brain might be fried.
It moved around a lot. Like I'll give you that. It covers a lot of ground. It's a lot less focused than I think the last couple issues have been.
That might be it.
You know, like the other two were way more focused on something specific, and this is like I think pulling on a lot of threads that, you know, had already been established, right? Like what's going on with Doug and you know, and Krakoa and what's his name? I can never remember. Warlock. And that's something that's been kind of brewing in the background for a really long time, right? And similarly, you know, we're getting advancement on, you know, the rift that's grown between, you know, Charles and Eric and Emma, and, you know, kind of the ramifications of that. You know, we're getting major development in the Moira side of the storyline. I feel like, I don't know. Like,
a question.
Go
about
ahead.
The Moira side. How did they track Moira? Like, how did Professor X get confused with Moira's arm? Like, doesn't he track? Like, didn't he find? He went to go look for Moira. He went to the Orcus location and said he just found an arm because Mystique and Destiny have taken Moira outside of that. Wouldn't he be able to track her by
her mind?
Mind?
So my thought there, and I don't know that this is the answer, is that she's probably not able to be tracked by her mind because they might want to keep her off the radar.
That's it.
I see. You mean from the other telepaths. Okay.
Now that you mention it too, Sean, when Charles feels that she's under attack, he says, "Eric, find her," and he has a transmitter.
Right.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I don't know. I guess it was like a chip in her arm or something or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's what it was. We should establish what all even happened in this issue.
A lot happened.
A lot did happen. We talked a little bit about Doug and essentially how Doug and Warlock, which is something that, by the way, you know, that was established in House and Powers, that something was going on with Doug and Warlock that they didn't want everyone else to know. And now that has been paid off. We understand that Doug has been tracking what's been going on behind the scenes. He essentially created a security system. Yeah, in Krakoa, a spy network. It reminded me of the Dark Knight, where he has all those monitors that are.
It was just the mutant version of the Patriot Act.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I thought this was great. I thought that whole sequence was awesome. I love the way that Krakoa looks. It's such a great design. And I love the Warlock Krakoa, the red version or whatever.
Yeah, that was cool. So I have a theory that, you know, I know we're kind of like going through this section by section, but it's specifically about Doug and what's going on here.
Sure, yeah.
We've been talking a long time about like what's his angle, right? Like what is he doing? Like, and you know, we're established in the very beginning that he doesn't trust Professor X, right? I feel like he's responsible for everything that's being set in motion right now. Like we talked about how Mystique figured everything out, right? And like was able to put all these pieces together. I feel like Doug aided and facilitated that when he found out what happened. I think the moment where he goes, it's right here, right? He's with Krakoa and he overhears their conversation, and it's when she says, When Moira says, I will not accept her breathing Krakoan air. I want her gone forever, burned from all existence. And he says, damn it. I think he is the one who informs Mystique of what's happening and enables her to revive Destiny to make all this happen. Because when you think about it too, right? That's why he knew that Moira's arm was where the locator was, right? And he probably communicated that to Mystique. And I'm willing to bet that that's what's going on. And I don't know to what end, but I'm planting my flag in that theory right now.
Was that scene not after or like during the same when Destiny was being resurrected though? They're having the conversation like underground, but then
I think it was right before.
No, it's before that because Moira says, I won't have her breathing mutant like Krakoan air. You need to deal with this. Then they try to deal with it, and they're surprised to find that she's already been resurrected.
Yeah, that's right before we got that like cliffhanger page.
Yeah. So like I feel like he's low key facilitating a coup. Whether or not I don't know that he's orchestrated it, but I feel like he's supplying people with information.
So what if Krakoa is orchestrating it?
That's possible
too. We don't know what Krakoa is saying.
Right. I feel like it probably is the three of them in cahoots, Krakoa, Warlock, and Doug. I feel like they have emerged as their own faction, right? Where it's like the three of them are working together and orchestrating this whole fucking plan.
Krakoa go into business for himself. Jeez.
Shit, right?
I think you're probably right, Pete. There's no other reason why the Doug stuff would have been attached to this issue. Each issue so far has had like previously on X-Men, and it's a redone version of a scene we've seen before that connects to the rest of the issue. I don't think there's a reason why they would have used that here.
Yeah, I feel like that has to mean something, and them lingering on that moment with Doug and him realizing what's happening. I feel like he felt motivated to act based on that, and Sean, you've pointed out in our previous conversations that like Mystique and Destiny are kind of like characters that make more sense to root for in what's going on right now because like they're just trying to live their lives, right? And like they don't have any motive beyond that, beyond like being together and loving each other. And like Irene is kind of a victim of circumstance in this scenario more than anything. So I feel like that's kind of interesting. Like when you think about it, because like I feel like maybe Doug feels that way too.
Yeah, especially because Doug is a lover.
Right.
Doug has a wife and he understands that willingness to do whatever it takes for the person that you love. He's experienced it on both ends. He's been in that position to have to do what it takes and also received it. So I could see him being highly sympathetic to what's happening in Destiny and Mystique's lives. I do want to put a pin in the conversation about those two because I want to talk about them later as it relates to who we're cheering for and who the good guys are, I guess. Tyler, you're about to jump in real quick.
Well, I was going to say, just to file this under baseless speculation, but the new Destiny of X teaser image does not have Doug on it. It has pretty much every other major character.
Yep.
Oh.
It does have Destiny and Mystique, but it does not have Doug or Warlock. It has Bay, his wife. Bay, right? That's her name?
Yeah, Bay, yes.
Yeah. But no Doug. So
interesting.
That could mean nothing. Maybe Lanil Yu just didn't want to draw Warlock. Who knows?
That's it.
The scene with Emma, Destiny, and Mystique I thought was excellent. One of the things that Jonathan Hickman gets criticized a lot for is taking characters and kind of doing things that don't feel true to them in order to get where he's trying to go. I personally have not really agreed with that too much. I think it's probably most true about like Cyclops, but mostly everybody else is doing what I think they would do. This is a scene where I really felt that. Emma feels betrayed. you think about the history of Emma Frost and what's happened in her life in our time over the last 20 or so years, how she's been for almost that entire time a loyal soldier for the X-Men, a really intrinsic element of the team. And she thought that she had built a camaraderie and trust with Charles and Magneto, that they would have looped her in about something like this from the jump, and they didn't do that. So now she just is like, you know what? Screw all of you. I don't want to be a part of this. I'm on my own team. But she does tell Mystique and Destiny, she shows them what's going on, which I don't know. I don't think I expected that to happen, but I keep forgetting this is like a really condensed thing because we don't have much time left with Hickman. Yeah. So he's got to do it all now.
That is something that, like, it's funny because I'm with you where we got to this issue and I was like, whoa, like, fuck, we're going there, like, already. But, like, I like that because as much as I enjoyed the slower pace of House and Powers, the fact that this, like, felt like it really had a lot of room to breathe the last two issues, and then this one is just like we're not wasting time. There's no fat on this issue. Like, let's move was like a surprise, but I don't know. It's almost refreshing in a way because I feel like we've been in such a holding pattern with the X-Men for so long where, like, this is the main event. This is the shit I've been waiting for, right? And It's nice to get rewarded for some of that investment finally.
Yeah, I expected that we'd get like a big reveal at some point with regards to these characters, just because this is the second to last issue. So like, it has to sort of move along. Next issue, we're done, and moving on to the next thing. So when they whipped that out, that was cool. That was a really strong moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the moment that kind of blew my socks off and had me like audibly like screaming was when Moira gets captured here. Like, again, something I didn't see coming, and apparently Magneto and Charles didn't either. It's almost weird, the idea that she's just casually walking around. Like,
yeah, I thought that was stupid. This whole
we
time
she does it.
I know, but like the whole time she's locked, under an underground underwater facility, but like she can just use any kind of, Orcus portal or not Orcus, Krakoan portal, just to go get a crep. Like, I don't know. I feel like you should have a little more control over the most important person to mutantdom.
Yeah, I get that, but I feel like there's like how long have they been doing this already? Right? Like, the understanding is that she's been, bunkered off for years at this point, right? Because everyone's thought she's dead for a long time. I feel like you'd get lulled into a false sense of security of like, yeah, like nobody's gonna know if I'm just a random, like white lady in France, like walking down the block, right?
Fair.
Like that's
fair.
I feel like I get that motivation to be like, okay, like why would you do that? But I feel like in the context of what her reality is, that didn't it passed the smell test for me, is I guess what I'm saying.
They had a moment, I think, in the last issue, maybe the first issue, where they were meeting with like the old folk, the Terra Verde people, about like
the Golden Girls.
Yeah. And so like they probably just like hacked whatever the system was, and that's how they located her.
They definitely did that. We saw that. Yeah.
I gotta say though, Sean, you said that you were surprised that they like kidnapped her and everything. I was like deeply confused by that, like, because I just don't know what their end game is. Because like they're not gonna kill her. Like obviously they don't want to. They're trying to protect the timeline and everything. And so like I don't know. Like I guess they're orchestrating this to like capture her and like take her under their control and try to take Charles and.
About?
I'm sorry, Destiny and Mystique, like kidnapping Moira. Like it's very much they're doing this thing to set up this trick, ideally to like I guess take Charles and Eric out of the picture and kind of take over. But like I don't know, wouldn't it have just been easier to like keep her in her isolated base and go capture her there rather than like I don't know. I guess I'm just a little like confused by what their end game is here.
Well, so it's important to note they didn't capture her, right? The Orcus people did. So they're piggybacking off of whatever Orcus is doing and taking this opportunity. She was going to get captured either way.
And we've seen Mystique constantly infiltrate Orcus.
That makes more sense.
Probably has.
Yeah. I forgot about that context. I'm thinking that that's part of their plan, but no, of course it's not.
So we should talk about the probably the thing that has people most talking. We already addressed it a little bit. It's the scene between Omega Sentinel and Nimrod. So Tyler referenced the Days of Future Past line. I want to tackle that first. I don't think she was saying that to say that she's literally from the Days of Future Past timeline. I know. Yeah. Hickman was thinking it was more of a tongue in,
it was a tongue in cheek. It's like Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen kind of meme.
I did say last time that I thought that Karima was from the future. Now we know that that's the case, but of course it's a Hickman book, so there is a wrinkle. She is from a version of the future that's different from what we understand to be true. So what we learned here is that everything that Magneto, Charles, and Moira are doing works. That this is successful in the future. And that this Omega Sentinel comes from the future of this timeline, timeline 10, where Moira and them win. And the same exact way that they send what was it they sent back? It was Wolverine's DNA, I forget, and powers at the end. When they get to the apex of everything, they send something back. Through a black hole. I can't remember, but we know that that's how they can that the only way you can survive Moira's reset is if you're in a black hole when it happens.
Right.
And so Omega Sentinel sent herself back so that she could activate Nimrod sooner to change the future. To me, that is consistent with everything that we know. Not because it was done before by her, but because all the rules of that already exist and we know that it can be done. So I had no problems with that. I actually really enjoyed it. And it's cool because it tells us that unless the future is changed by them and whatever machinations Mystique and Destiny are doing, the X-Men get what they want. It throws a huge monkey wrench into this conversation because that's what we want, right? As readers, we want mutants to succeed. And when we did the House of Powers review, that's what everybody said. But now it's flipped because now we know mutants will win, but at what cost?
Yeah, it's interesting because you were when you said the thing about, I got to the part of the book where I audibly gasped. The thing for me was when we got back to Moira's life timeline. I was like, oh shit! Like this is a big deal. And I thought it was interesting. There's some stuff on the timeline, right, where mutants and humans like work together. On the timeline. There's the mutant-human alliance.
Yeah.
I guess to fight the children,
like the children of the Vault. Yes.
Yeah, the post-humans. But then a couple years later, after the children are defeated and Apocalypse returns, there's the mutant-human war. So like. Yeah, seemingly mutants wipe out humanity.
At what cost?
And then there's also that weird wrinkle that I guess Krakoa allowed the children of the Vault to grow and post-humans to grow. Like, isn't that revealed too? Like Krakoa's like, hey, this thing is building here in the section that I can't see, but Warlock can see it, so I know what's going on. There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, we know that some kind of a version of Krakoa goes on to the future of one of the timelines. And we've always speculated that there would be a fusion of Krakoa and Warlock.
Right.
So I'm wondering if that isn't like what's going to come to pass, because we know the end game is like forget humans. It's post-humans and machine technology versus mutants. Krakoa is a mutant, I guess. It's like
Yeah.
But it's aligned with a machine in Warlock. So I think that's probably there's probably some truth to what you're saying there, Tyler. Yeah, I mean that timeline was shocking. It came out of nowhere. But again, it just adds another wrinkle to what I feel is an amazing story that I'm so bummed is on its way towards ending. So with what we've kind of discussed, are you guys still not into the Omega Sentinel reveal?
Oh, I thought you were gonna go down a different path. Yeah, I don't mind that. I feel like it's kind of feels like a means to an end in this story, but like I'm cool with that because like I feel like what it's doing and disrupting is interesting. So like I don't really necessarily care about Nimrod or Omega Sentinel like as characters, but like as an obstacle that exists to throw a wrench in the timeline, I'm cool with that.
Well, Tyler, you and Marco, you guys were against it. So how do you feel now?
I mean, I'll let it play out. Like I'm not against it, I wouldn't say, but like it just didn't. I didn't gasp or pop for it. You know, I'll see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't pop for it. I forgot who this was. So I was like, "Who the fuck is this?"
I knew it.
You explaining it, I was like, "Oh, that's right. I remember these things."
She had the weird thing on her face. Yeah.
It's worth pointing out for those of you who, like Marco, don't remember exactly who Omega Sentinel
People
is.
like Marco?
That's not true. No, people love Marco.
There we go. There we go.
She's a human. She was a human. Omega Sentinel Karima was a human being who was infected with the Sentinel virus or whatever you want to call it. And in fact, if you look at the Moira Life 10 timeline, you can see the timeline of Omega Sentinel coming online and what happened there. That same thing is actually in, I believe it's House number 3, House or Powers number 3. So just to show you how long Hickman has been driving towards this.
Right.
In any event, there is the face-off between Destiny, Mystique, and Moira. I mean, we've been waiting so long to see that. That's insane. When is Destiny's power going to kick in?
I feel like shortly after now, because the blanks are being filled in, and that's been the thing that's been fucking her powers up, is like that there's all this information and stuff that she doesn't know, and like as she's filling in those blanks, I imagine it'll become like the pieces will come into place for her a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
I think Mystique and Destiny are definitely winning. You know, if anyone's going to win in this, it's going to be them, especially since, not to mention that other Destiny of X, you know, promo image that came up, but blindfolds on it, another precog,
right?
Who we haven't seen either. Not the strongest one, but the one we haven't seen since what, Rosenberg's Strange X-Men run right before House and Powers. So I guess precogs will be allowed on Krakoa soon enough.
Yep. And then of course the book ends with Magneto and Charles facing off with Nimrod. That's bad.
They seem out of metal.
I think they're gonna just die. Like I feel like they're gonna get their fucking clocks cleaned and like maybe get taken off the table for a while.
No, I feel like it's just a setup for like a really cool fight. If this is the last issue, like leading
they
to
get killed off. Cyclops puts his red costume on, takes control. This is what I want.
I don't know, Marco. You think they can beat these guys? There's a whole group of people with probably anti-mutant weaponry, and then fucking Nimrod and Omega Sentinel. Like, I don't know, dude.
Yeah, but like plot armor too. I feel like it'll be cool, kick ass.
They already have plot armor though, because they can be resurrected later. Like,
fair enough.
You could easily kill them off and be like, yeah, they're fucking dead for a while. Mystique's in charge, baby. Like,
we know for a fact that they will die, actually, because we saw Emma resurrecting them. So,
right. I fucking forgot about that.
But that doesn't mean that will happen here and now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident that Charles and Magneto will not be in Destiny of X. I believe that sequence we saw is the result of whatever Emma's endgame is, which will happen down the road from now.
Huh. Okay. Fuck with that.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
No follow-up on the Colossus element from last issue.
Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I did forget about that.
He's too busy screaming somewhere. Unless it might be in like an X-Force. I know they were talking about an X-Force. The new issue of X-Force just came out. So
you want to talk about
last week or so.
A great sound for you to have access to. It would have been crazy if you could have played the Colossus yell right there.
Don't worry. On my stream when I do Journey into Quistery, it if there are like followers or something that pops up. Don't worry.
Beautiful.
I've already planned that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? This issue really didn't leave me with a ton of theorizing so much as I'm just ready for where this is going.
I feel like this was one that answered questions rather than raised them.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about the 3 artists in it? I mean, they're like 3 good artists. Like each of these artists has done their own Marvel events. Like it's nothing to slouch at, but
that's never my favorite thing. But I feel like when you have, to your point, people that are, this on the ball, it's like, all right, like, I can accept it.
Yeah, we'll take it.
I was aware of it because they told us, but had they not, I wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah, I felt like there was enough cohesion between them that it felt appropriate,
Man, I can't. I'm gonna hate it when this era is over. These colors are beautiful. Like for you guys on YouTube, like look at this page.
I know
it's good.
That's insane. Like
it's like a Coed and Cambria cover.
Hell yeah, dude. That's why I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we said this when it started, but I think we'll always look back on this era and be like, wow, like what a moment,
I think this goes up there with like Morrison's like new X-Men stuff
as a classic.
Yeah, I think this will be up there with like this. Like it's gonna be like Claremont, Morrison. This I feel.
I agree.
Yeah,
I really wish Hickman was getting like the lengthy run to really contend with them, because I think there are people who will dismiss that idea on its face because he's not the sole storyteller here. But man, I'd put these issues up against anything.
Did I read something about Gillen joining the X-Men team?
Yep.
Okay.
He's doing Immortal X-Men, I want to say. Yeah.
There's a guy that I think could actually him and who's doing Way of X? Cy Spurrier. I feel like they can kind of pick up off these things pretty well.
I can see that. Gillen, with the stuff he's been doing on Eternals, I can definitely see that.
Oh, and especially like Eternals and then like his stuff on Die and Once and Future. Like this guy, Gillen knows his shit. I'm a big Gillen mark. So,
all right. Way of X was like the road to nowhere.
I really liked Way of X.
You like okay.
I fought so hard to like Way of X, and it really dissuaded me.
I feel like it was an ongoing that was then forced to be a miniseries. Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, but ongoing to where? Like to what end?
They were talking about mutants fucking, like that's all it was. This is find a common
like, sex.
Yeah.
Pull this. It's my book of the week, and this was a stacked week. God, Tyler, I used to really
because we're talking about the next book, which was definitely my pick of the week.
Devil's Reign. Okay.
Before we get there, this is my pick of the week too. Inferno's the hotness.
Oh yeah, pull it. Yank this one. I'm gonna say this is a yank.
What else is a yank? Your crank.
Baseball team? No? Oh.
Yeah. Yank.
All right.
Yank your crank.
So if we're gonna talk about Devil's Reign, the first thing I want to say is how much this cover reminds me of a Dungeons and Dragons book.
Hey, there we go.
Doesn't it?
I've been watching to a ton of Critical Role lately. So like I'm down with that. So Devil's Reign. I don't have the book near me, and I'm petting my cat. That's Marco Checchetto and Chip Zdarsky, right? Do you know who's on?
Yes. And then we've got Marcio Menes on colors and Clayton Cowles on letters. Feel free.
Okay. This this is like my section of the Marvel universe.
Speak on it, dude.
Like, I love street level. Seeing Luke Cage again for the first time in like, what years? I feel ever since like his Netflix series got canceled, he's kind of been just playing like a, behind the scenes character, really. I love Daredevil. I have a freaking Daredevil tattoo. Like I'm big into it. Moon Knight's in this, just like that whole like street level idea of like heroes just trying to do good and people are trying to stop them from doing good. Super simple superhero stuff. Not no offense to House and Powers or X-Men, but like there's no like humanity is going to become post-human and there's machines and then there's mutants and like this is a lot more dumb for dummies like me. And then you throw in like the best part of Marvel Civil War, which is like that Cap being like a fugitive from.
I knew you would love this show. I was like, it's fucking Civil War. It's just Civil War, but just in New York.
It's Civil War where Daredevil takes the starring lead.
Well, and all the superheroes are on the same team, which is so it's more fun.
and then you throw in the Thunderbolts, which are then controlled by Kingpin in New York City, and Doc Ock is a Thunderbolt. Shocker's here. Rhino. Like, oh, dude, this is like good soup for me. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels good. It's what I crave. I loved it. And then Marco Cicchetto, like, I've been a Cicchetto fan since I would say, was it Brian? One of the Bryans did Punisher, where he was like this force of nature. Was it Brian Wood, maybe?
Oh, you're talking about, you're not, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember that run. Yeah.
Yeah, where he had like the weird spray painted kind of skull on it. He didn't talk at all.
Yes.
It was really,
awesome.
The perspective was through like a woman who was like a detective or something like that.
Yep.
That's where I was introduced to Cicchetto. I'm like, yo, this guy is good. And like seeing him draw like the fight scene with, Moon Knight. Even though he drew Rhino with strange ears, which I was like, yeah, I like that. That's good.
I really like the texture of the suit that he did.
Oh yeah, there's texture all over this thing. This is a texture-rich book.
Yeah, it's really good.
Everything is you can smell the dirt on a lot of the pages in this.
Even like
you can smell New York City in this book.
The fire.
You have a digital copy, Tyler. Stop lying.
Fair. I can't smell anything. I should probably get a test.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
The scene with the fire, I think, really had that like smell factor. Like I felt very enveloped in that moment. And
yeah, Pete sniffs when I'm stepping in, Sean.
I get it.
Pete's lying too.
Real quick though, the Spider-Man who they show up to help, is that Miles? Is that his new costume?
Yeah, he has a new suit in his solo series. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that. And then
I had to confirm that myself.
Is the woman in the Daredevil costume Elektra?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
This is picking up from the Daredevil proper series that Zdarsky's been doing for a couple of years now, or whatever it is. It's been excellent for those of you who haven't read it. I'm not fully caught up, but from what I read, it was amazing. I love the simple idea of Kingpin versus Daredevil taken to its apex. This feels like that in a lot of ways. This brings me back, man. This is a comic that made me feel like I was 16 again, because
it
has those Civil War, Marvel, late 2000s era feel to it.
The best parts of it, though, not the dumb parts where superheroes just kill each other, because that doesn't make sense. But this is villain versus hero. It's good.
And recycling some of those pieces like the Thunderbolts and bringing in like the like new Avengers, some of those cast, it's really sick. Like it hit a lot of good nostalgic waves for me, without feeling like tired in the way that can feel.
And it references everything. It references King of Black. It references War of the Realms. It references the end of Mark Waid's Daredevil run, which then went into Charles Soule's Daredevil run. Kilgrave shows up again, and then they even mentioned Jessica Jones is in this as well. And it's so lore. It's so lore heavy without it really dragging it down. There are like winks and nods to things that like I've been reading Daredevil since Bendis' run, really. I also read there was like a Polygon article or something recently where They said Daredevil is the most well-written character in Marvel and in comics history, just consistently. I kind of agree with that. But seeing that here is just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I think this speaks to how good he is, but I had a real problem in this issue a couple times where I could not hear Vince D'Onofrio's voice as Kingpin when he's giving his speech to New York.
Yeah.
I could not. I started laughing my ass off. Just he goes, "We have suffered wave after wave of attacks, of destruction brought down on our great city." It's just kills me.
That was good.
Thank you.
You know, this is not my kind of comics. This was okay. Good story beats.
Such a bummer, man. I'm all about. I'm right there with Tyler in terms of this is the kind of stuff that I live for. I love the street level heroes, like big cosmic concerns and politics of mutantdom, all that stuff. It's all fun. It's all great. There's time and place for all of that, and I love it. But like this kind of shit is like, this is my roots when it comes to the Marvel universe. It's like characters like this, like Spider-Man, like Daredevil, like Luke Cage. I eat this shit up. The fact that it's like all of those folks and like Captain America being like, if a law keeps you from saving people, it's wrong. We got to go underground. It's like, yeah, let's fucking do it. I'm here. Like,
what I also loved is that Iron Man is a part of this. Like, Tony Stark doesn't like this doesn't really affect him.
No.
But he's like, nah, I'm down. And also, by the way, I'm gonna run for mayor, so that I can stop him on the political end. Like,
yeah,
it's just so good. This is Marvel.
Yeah,
this is Marvel.
And like the whole like Luke Cage like saving somebody and then like giving a speech to like a bunch of people on their phones, like that just feels like such a like.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for that Luke Cage tie-in comic.
Glad you said that. It's so obvious from reading this that scene is included to give Luke Cage a space within this event.
Mm-hmm.
And now whatever was going to happen there just isn't going to happen.
That's such a shame.
We won't see it for a while. I really liked seeing Doc Ock and Reed Richards share page space together. I don't think I've ever seen them on the same page. Like on a
not that I can think of. Yeah, where it's like one, like where they're just having words. Yeah.
And I love the Fantastic Four being a part of this. It's so cool. People, forget that like New York City's heroes are more than just the street level people. Mm-hmm. Like the Fantastic Four are far from street level, but they're as intrinsic to New York as Spider-Man is. And so seeing them have a stake in this was super cool. This was just brilliant. And we talked a little bit about the art. Whew, man,
solid. Very good stuff.
Like, gorgeous. Especially because like this kind of book, like it's gonna lend itself to a lot of fight scenes and stuff, and that can get real fucking tired, right? But like I feel like it's real dynamic stuff, like when we are going for like it's like this second page, where it's the full spread of Daredevil, and it's like one of the most classic Daredevil poses imaginable. It's like, I'm sure there are probably 100 Daredevil comics that open with a similar page like this, but it's fucking good. So it doesn't matter, right? Like, it's like, yeah, like if you're gonna play the hits, fucking play them well. And that's what this is, right? Like, it is meat and potatoes type comics, but it's good. And like, like there's a reason people like comfort food.
It's the cream of the crop. It really, really is.
Chip is fucking great, man. He knows how to write these kinds of characters so well.
Yeah.
The artists that he works with, I think they communicate the story beats really well. All of them start off with like this nice, looking when we first get introduced to the Fantastic Four. Like two big panels set the scene, and then the last panel is going to lead into like the actual big bad action. And then similarly for Luke Cage, and you see here, they have a big page. They're in there. They're walking, and then all of a sudden, the bottom of the page leads into the big action. And I think that economy of paneling I think works really well, and tied along with the fact that I think Zdarsky's like a really good storyteller and understands like how to hold tension. They make for really good segues into the next scene, and it flows really, really well.
Something that I really appreciate about Chip as a writer is I feel like he has such a strong voice. Books that he writes, I feel like really have a specific tone and style to them that feels like him, but he fucking like really knows these characters' voices well, you know? So like you don't get that problem where like some writers who have a really strong voice, like they write every character kind of similarly.
Yeah.
You know? And like that.
Bendis.
Sure, right, exactly, right. Yeah, like almost every character is the same person. And like he's really good at leaning into the things that are like, this is a hallmark, or you could even argue a trope of this character, but I'm going to lean into it in a way that's good and authentic. Like the whole, the moment with, you know, where Cap comes in and backs up Miles, right? And he's holding this woman that he's carrying out of a burning building. And he's like, officer, step away from that young man now, you know, and like inserts himself in this problem. And it's like the most like, yeah, that's exactly what he would do in this scenario, of course, right? But like, it's easy to do that and have it feel hammy, you know? And he toes that line so fucking well, you know? I think that's one of the things he nails so well when he's doing Marvel stuff.
It's weird how good of a writer Chip Zdarsky is.
It's weird.
Yeah, because we knew him as an artist.
Guy, yeah.
And now he's this great writer.
I feel like it's the inverse now, right? Like he's been a writer for longer and is probably like more prolific as a writer now than an artist, you know? Which is wild as fuck.
Fair to say, yeah.
You know, like if you had said that in 2013 or 14, whenever Sex Criminals was on the scene, you know, you would have been like, oh, in 10 years he'll be at the top of the art game, you know?
Well, I am assuming, Tyler, that Devil's Reign was your pick of the week, or you said that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for sure. What do you think is happening at the end here? Is Kingpin taking out Kilgrave's vocal cord to use it? Can that be a thing?
That makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he clearly...
Or is he just taking him off the board?
Well, I mean, he says, what a squandered gift. Perhaps it's time someone more worthy possessed it for a better world. He's definitely talking about himself. It's like, he's got to be doing something to co-opt his powers. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure myself. Like you mentioned vocal cords. Like, is that where his powers are? I figured it would be in his brain, you know? So we'll
his blood's purple, though. Like, even that's purple.
He's the purple man.
Yeah, he's the purple man.
I did think it was fucking hilarious when we got to that last panel in the Fisk for president. I was like, damn, where was this issue? Fucking 2016 when we named Wilson Fisk the president. We fucking predicted this 5 years ago.
Sure did. A little late, but we made it. Yeah, this was brilliant. On any other week, this is my pick of the week, and it was tough for me between the two, but Inferno went out. Definitely pick this up, though. You don't need to be reading Daredevil to understand what's happening here.
Can confirm.
The context that you need is literally in the first few pages and the previously on page. It's brilliant.
Yeah, Pete, your only questions were costume related, not plot related at all.
And I was right about both of them just from context clues. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are who these people are.
Well, let's talk about Batman 118, A New Beginning for the Batman. Joshua Williamson, who I'm really happy to see getting this shot, even though it's not long term. He's here for a good time, not a long time. He is joined by Jorge Molina.
Not Alfred Molina?
No,
hello, Peter.
Alfred Molina. That would have been really shocking. Who, by the way, I think does an absolutely incredible job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen his stuff before, but I was fucking blown away by his work.
I feel like I've seen plenty of Jorge Molina, but I looked at this, I'm like, Wait, this is Melina? Like
Mikkel Janin was also one of the artists on this, so they shared duties. I'm not
I
sure.
think it was only like 2 pages.
Yeah,
like because you can tell Janin's art, and I think it's only like 2 pages with was it Alfred's daughter? Was that her?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think those were the Janin pages.
And then Tamu Moray did the colors, and Clayton Cowles did the letters. So, if you haven't been following Batman, one of the cool things about this issue is that that's really irrelevant. You get what you need to know up front, again, which is that, hey, Gotham won, and the fear state is over, and we're good now. And immediately, I think Joshua Williamson gives us a moment that really impacted me, which is, Batman kind of not knowing how to like just accept that it's over, and Batgirl's like, hey, things are okay now, you can rest, why don't you come hang out with me and Dick and we'll eat Starbucks or whatever. And he doesn't do that. I really, really loved that sequence. He thinks about the people in his life that he would normally go to for that decompression, and he can't.
Yeah, I loved that. I think the easiest way to get me to like a story about Batman, not that I'm predisposed to not, but I like when Batman is written as being vulnerable and like having vulnerability rather than being like the whole, kind of like almost memification of the character of like, oh, with enough prep time, Batman can beat anybody. And it's like, maybe, but like there's times when he's written like a god, and that's not interesting to me. I'm way more interested in somebody who's that capable but has flaws, right? And makes mistakes and learns from them, and is sometimes not as emotionally available as he'd like to be, and those kinds of things. Like that makes him a person, and that's what I come to superhero comics for. And that moment was my favorite of the issue, like specifically, the cuts of all those like warm memories, and then that being just contrasted with him like there alone with the sun coming up, is like, that's good. That's really good writing. It's very, very personal.
Yeah. The story is about a Batman who doesn't recognize Gotham anymore. Arkham Asylum's gone, Wayne Manor's gone, Alfred's gone, Dixon Bloodhaven, Damien's gone. People are happy, like he doesn't, this isn't Gotham anymore. And instead of being able to accept that and live in it, he does the classic Bruce Wayne thing and runs away from it. He finds trouble, or maybe trouble finds him in a bit, but it's he finds a reason to leave Gotham.
It's like it's almost he's taking the excuse, right? Like, sure, trouble finds him, but he could have not flown across the world to deal with this problem. He could have went and, maybe not, but I feel like it's both of those things. Like, yes, this fell in his lap, but I think he's jumping at the opportunity to go somewhere else and engross himself in a case.
Sure, yeah. I really enjoyed the villains party, the Batman villains party. I stared at this page for way too long. Like, I was trying to see how many Two-Faces there were. I was disappointed to see
more than two. It was more than two.
There definitely were. I think it was like 4. I was disappointed that there was no Dr. Hurt.
Because of the gala sort of thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I don't think I saw Professor Pig.
Nope.
Which I was.
There was a Riddler in the costume he used in Batman Forever, though, so that made up for all that for me.
That was sick. It was sick that there were multiple of the same characters.
Yeah,
they were wearing different versions of the costumes. Mm-hmm. That was really great.
There were as many Harley Quinn costumes as Halloween the year Halloween. That Suicide Squad came out. Yeah. Friend of the show, Matt Murphy, was also one of those Harley Quinns at one point.
I remember.
Yep. What?
It's not burned in your memory?
No, I need to see that pronto.
Yeah, I thought that was like a really fun premise, and it was like, I don't know, I think it speaks to like how cool the art is in this, right? That like a lot of background scenes are often not, as well realized as this is, or there's so many fine details. Like I really liked. There's the in that shot, right, like on the top left when you have like the full shot and it's the billionaires ball villains of Gotham. There's the Catwoman from the Arkham games is right there, and then back straight it's the Mr. Freeze from the animated series. Like there's some fun little nods to all these different, fantastic designs of obviously all these characters.
Yeah. I think it's fun also because it plays into the story directly. Bruce is hidden as Killer Croc, and that's fun.
Yeah.
It's almost like a small campy moment, but it's executed really well, and that beat is used really effectively. Like where he'll pop out, it's like, oh, what the hell's going on? And all of a sudden, boom, I'm Batman. It's like, all right, fuck with that.
And I like that, like he's like cracking jokes and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like the whole, he's like, oh, like the Riddler goes, riddle me this, Killer Croc, what's green and red all over my fist? And he fucking gets him right in the face. Like it's fun. It's a Batman who's having some fun. It's
like very that. Schumacher Batman.
Sure.
Which totally down my alley.
Tyler, did this remind you at all of issue 1 of Scott Snyder's run on Batman, where he breaks into Arkham and he's facing off with all those villains and he teams up with the Joker, but it turns out the Joker's Nightwing?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That was great for the previous pages and make sure that book sold for thousands of copies. But
no kidding.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some brilliant like art pieces in this issue, just like when Firefly burns away Batman's fake costume and you see him here in all his glory.
Yep.
Such a sick panel.
There are so many good of just the him in the shadow or like in the background or whatever. Like later on the two guest pages where there's the stuff with Alfred's daughter, right, where like she's at the crime scene and he just shows up, he's like, don't touch that. Like that's another really just solid Batman.
Yeah. So much
the vibes are immaculate in this book, frankly. I really like this. I thought this was a really fun first issue.
Yeah, this was awesome. I haven't read much of Tynion's run, so I'm coming into this mostly fresh, especially when you talk about like the fear state element. But man, was this awesome. This is what I wanted. Like Tom King's run was cool, but it didn't feel quite like Batman to me. This feels like what Joshua Williamson did with the Flash. He took a character that needed a little bit, in my mind, of a freshening up, and he did that by doing what you do with that character. There's no like special bells and whistles on this. It's just great Batman stuff.
Yeah, it's like so classic that it feels novel.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, like fuck. This is what we've been missing, right? Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that back to basics run, to like reorient the character a little bit.
I think it was especially important after Tynion's run, which was very out there. I really like Tynion's run. I would say I'm a fan of the whole run, but it was a non-traditional Batman story in a way.
And like what's nice about it is it's not doing like a rubber banding thing. Like it's not like being like, hey, none of that shit happened. We're back to basics because of fucking bullshit. Yeah. It's just like, hey, that story resolved itself and now Bruce doesn't know what to do with himself. So let's follow him. Where's he going now? Like it feels so natural,
You can literally always hook me with the Batman Inc. crew, by the way. Like their inclusion here, like this is if you're
who's
like
your favorite
Grant's
Batman Inc. member?
Who's my favorite Batman Inc. member?
Not necessarily the ones showed in this, but like in general.
I don't know if you count her, but Squire.
That's the right answer.
Cool.
Yeah.
See,
that's the correct answer.
As someone who
there's a Paul Cornell Knight and Squire miniseries that is fantastic. Yeah.
Yep.
As someone who I've never really like interacted with Batman Inc., but like I fuck with the Batman of China because I fucking loved the new Superman.
It's a retcon. I think it's a retcon. I don't think he was originally a member of Batman Inc. in this.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I feel like that run happened like way after.
It did. Yep.
Yeah. Because new super hyphen man was only.
I believe it was. Yeah, I think it was just a younger guy who then the Chinese government like made into their Batman. From what I remember, is that right?
The thing is that when the Chinese government like built their Justice League, they have like a Batman training camp basically, and it's all of these dudes training to be Batman, and the top cadet is Batman, for as long as he is. But this guy like went rogue and everything, and he's like, nah, fuck that, I'm Batman. Like, you could say somebody else is Batman, I'm Batman.
Marco, what's your favorite Batman Inc. member?
El Gaucho was pretty fucking
There
cool.
we go.
I knew you were gonna say El Gaucho.
El Gaucho's great.
You don't like
He's one of the
Spawn?
more prominently shown ones. Yeah.
Spawn he's pretty chill, but
The Hood.
Yeah.
He's just Spawn.
Prefer Todd McFarlane's The Hood.
Also, can we talk about how this has like a Clayman-esque element of everybody being hot?
Sure, yeah.
Even Lex, which was like, what the hell is going on here? Why? First of all, why is he here?
That was interesting. That was like
you're right. He's like weirdly handsome.
What is happening,
dude?
here?
That's literally Mark Strong. Like, look at that.
Yeah.
That's Mark Strong.
Yeah, totally.
Fuck, you're right. He does look like Mark Strong.
Yeah,
That's handsome Dr. Savannah from the movies.
This is definitely an awesome issue. I think this is gonna be a contender, man. And if Williamson gets a little bit more time with the book, because right now it looks like he's only getting like an arc or two or something like that.
Like 4 issues, yeah.
Yeah. If he gets an extended run, or if he does well enough with this, maybe they'll give him the real ball down the road.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really
I
liked
wonder
his
if-
take on Batman. Yeah. I would love to have him back.
I wonder if DC just sign any exclusive contracts that they can give Batman to, but who knows? But
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the main
wait for
show
Saturday, I
sometime.
guess, for that one.
Yeah. Let's talk. Oh, pull it. Certainly.
Yeah, it's good jumping off point.
On a
Yep.
different week, this could have been a pick of the week. This was great. You should pull it.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to. This is the first Batman book we've read. Like mainline Batman is the first time we've done it for the show
On purpose.
What do you mean?
Like the whole peacekeeper maker
Oh,
Batman book.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the one I made you read afterwards, The Gardener.
This was great, but let's talk about Marco's main event. He hasn't picked the book of the week yet, so it has to be this.
Marco, show the sweater. Show the sweater, Marco.
Talking about the Swamp Thing, number 10. Wouldn't you rather have a T-shirt of this cover, Marco?
I would.
That is a sick cover.
I
Be good, that'd
would
be a
rather
t-shirt.
have that cover, if I'm being honest.
Oh, Marco, just saying. Marco, go to Forbidden Planet in New York City. They got the House of Secrets cover, first appearance of Swamp Thing T-shirt.
Ooh.
Yeah, they don't have my size, but you're not as you don't have as much of a beer gut as I do, so they probably have yours.
So, of course, I'm sure that for those of you who normally listen, I don't need to repeat this, but it's Rom V, Mike and Mike, Perkins and Spicer, Didia Bidikar on letters, and let's talk about it. This is the finale of season 1 of Swamp Thing. Marco, why don't you kick us off, man?
Quite the finale. He's, as Rom will do and as writers will do with Swamp Thing, they will wax poetically and bring some sort of idea to the forefront, and then behind that there's the layer of the action plus the subtext of the plot. I think it all worked here really, really well. It delivered on, I think, the overall story. I think we had probably mentioned some of it had felt a bit condensed after the Suicide Squad appearance. Yeah. But I think from there it's picked up. The battle here with the brother juxtaposed with, thoughts of memory and hope. A lot to love. And as always, Perkins fucking crushes. Dude, that one panel where he comes out of the ground like a fucking zombie. Good shit.
That was nuts.
Just the different designs that he's chosen for Swamp Thing throughout this whole run has been great. I like how the idea of Swamp Thing is malleable to the situation he's in.
Spicer fucking killing it on covers too, colors, man. Like so bold, so dynamic.
Wrong page, Sean. You showed off.
You showed the One Star Squadron.
Oh, whoops!
I'm not talking about that book. Yeah,
there we go. Right?
There we go.
Yes,
Good.
It's like a Walking Dead.
It does have that vibe to it. Yeah.
I'm glad Perkins kind of graduated from like the Carnage guy for me.
Yeah.
I think Marvel kind of pigeonholed him, and like he's really gotten to really flex his stuff here, which I really enjoy.
Man, the first 3 pages of this, I just was like, I thought was so good, like so moving. Like Marco said, the whole like Rom gets a chance to kind of wax poetic a little bit, and I really loved the script there. Like I thought like the language was definitely tapping into that kind of flowery, like prosy Swamp Thing vibe,
Yep.
And not that he's not done that at all, but I feel like it's been sparingly, and this was such a like, him using it as like this opportunity to like meditate on, like childhood ambition and and like the relationship between these brothers and how it's soured and like having that juxtaposed with this like incredibly warm memory between the two of them, and like it's so it's good stuff. We've talked about how one of the unique things about Rom's run here is the decision to make Levi like still a person, and like to include familial drama as kind of like a grounding element to the story. And that's I found that to be really rewarding, and I feel like this issue like pays off on that well. It makes good use of that bedrock that's been built into the story, I
agree with that. The only thing that I would say as not a counter to that, but just I guess on the side of it, is I wasn't too interested in their fight. I thought that their fight was not very, very good.
I agree. It felt like it was rushed. Like it feels like it just kind of happens, and it didn't feel super consequential.
Yeah.
And I think it could have.
Well, I don't think it was supposed to be about the fight. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think maybe the previous issues kind of built it up as that. But it really was about showing them like that there's still love for each other there, which then leads to Levi saving him.
Yeah.
It's more of a, I guess this is a way to resolve the two, for the coming issues. Maybe they become allies. I don't know. It felt like it wasn't really necessarily meant to be that.
I agree that it wasn't about that, but I still feel it could have been a little more interesting. It was there, sure. Right? So if it's there, but
yeah. It's like it's too much and not enough, right? Like it's like one or the other would have been fine.
Especially when you got a week where Moon Knight's fighting Rhino and Electro. Come on.
Yeah, like that shit was fun, and I don't need that. I don't need a big like blowout between them, but it occupies a third of the issue, and it's the least interesting part by a lot, Not that it's not good. Like the pages are still good. The art's really good. The colors are really good.
But there's also interference in the middle of their fight. Like, so they don't really actually get to fight. Sean's wrestling reference. This feels like a no DQ finish. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like it doesn't have a clean finish. They'll save that for, I don't know, issue 15, maybe. I don't know.
But I mean, to your point, or it might just be because we're pivoting with that character, right? Where like he's going to have a face turn and like they're going to make amends or whatever. And like, okay, like cool. Like I'm into that. But I feel like he was like a bad guy and an obstacle for such a short amount of time too, that like,
sure.
But who knows? That might not be the case. It might be a thing where he saves him and he still hates his guts, and
right.
I'm not. I'm with you, Sean. Where that stuck out to me as being the weakest point, while not being something that I felt was actually a detractor. Really, it wasn't bad. It was just not as rewarding as I feel like it could have been, and that Rom's shown that he's capable of having things like that pay off. I thought the conflict with the Suicide Squad was more satisfying than this was in that regard.
Yep.
He found a way to make that narratively rich, and we gave him his laurels for that.
On the other hand, the philosophical, as Marco said, like waxing poetic elements of this were really nice, man. I love Rom's presentation of the Swamp Thing as like an eternal sort of force of nature, literally, that it is a force of nature that persists beyond whoever currently is the avatar. It's brilliant stuff. And, it reminds me, and I guess if you're writing Swamp Thing, you've got to do this, but it reminds me of those, like the Neil Gaiman, right? Like the Neil Gaiman stuff.
Alan Moore?
I'm sorry. Yeah. Alan Moore. It reminds me of the Alan Moore stuff, and it feels appropriate that you stretch all the way back, and here's Alan Moore doing it, and now in 2021, Rom is planting his flag. It feels respectful of the character and what's been done, but it also adds some layers as well, I thought.
Sean, have you read Bromby's These Savage Shores?
No.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
I wasn't into it.
Really?
Yeah,
I really enjoyed These Savage Shores. It's a vampire story, but it's also set in like colonial India with like English colonialism. It's built around that.
I'm into that.
I thought that shit was good.
Not pirates. It's just
not really
older, colonial type stuff.
Okay.
Marco, do you remember what publisher that was? Vault. It's Vault.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty though. It's real good looking stuff. It's Kumar. What's
While you find that, I want to respond to something that Sean said there, where I that's something I've really appreciated about how Rom has handled Swamp Thing is like it really feels like there is like that love and admiration for the things about Swamp Thing that are like classic, like the style and the form and like but not being afraid to like throw out all of the trappings, like which is hard to do and do well, I think, to like it almost feels like, kind of similar to the way that like which is this kind of a weird pull, but like the way that Into the Spider-Verse like kind of talks about like Spider-Man as a mantle and like, oh, like it's it's about what it represents or whatever. It's like kind of the reverse of that, of like, well, how do we boil down Swamp Thing to its core elements? And it's like, well, Alec Holland, not really a core element. That's fine. We can toss that out. It's the style, it's the presentation, it's the art, it's the the flowery language, like all those things. And Rom is nailing all of that stuff and making it feel so true to Swamp Thing while also being, the freshest take on the character probably since, Alan Moore himself, right? Like since he defined what it would be moving forward, because this is so different.
To that point, right? Like this is what Alan Moore did to distinguish himself from the Len Wein stuff. Be like, these people are not the same. They belong to this stretch of history, and Ram V to do that successfully, because not a lot of writers, any other writer that's picked up the series will continue the Alec Holland story, not a refresh, redux version. And so for Ram to decide to do that, do it well, and be successful at that, I think is, kudos to him. But he's also expanding the lore, because you have that desert spirit, that avatar of the desert, and
I'm excited for that.
It was so cool to see him come back into the play, into the fold.
And it's funny that character, which was like the first arc of this whole run, kind of felt a little disjointed from everything. It
felt throwaway.
Outside of the fact that it was a way of introducing Levi to the Green, but like that character itself felt like a throwaway. So seeing that come back and like, oh, there might be actual ramifications there. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm such a sucker for that. Like, everyone knows I'm a Kirkman fan, and like that's a thing I love that he does, where it'll be like, oh, you remember that seed I planted fucking 30 issues ago? Like, here we go. It's back. Like, I love shit like that, where it's like, you thought it was a throwaway. Nothing's a throwaway, motherfucker. Like, it all means something. Like, that, it makes you feel rewarded for investing in the story, right? That, like, even the stuff that at the time you're like, how does this fit into what's going on? It's like, well, there's a plan. There's a plan here.
Yeah. And also, like, you talk about, Rom's take on this is a little more traditional in terms of Swamp Thing. Like, I would say since, like, New 52, like, nothing against Snyder or Soul's run. Like, I really enjoy those. Those are a little more popcorny. Yes. This feels like Vertigo. You know what I mean? Like it's got, a feel there that I don't see in comics. Actually, DC's been kind of bringing it back, even though it's not Vertigo proper, but like with Hellblazer, a year or two ago.
Yeah. Good stuff.
That kind of had that same feeling. So like, this is scratching an itch, which I don't really feel gets scratched a lot lately. So
it fills that void. Like that's what it is. It's palpable, and this would have been a Vertigo book 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I think easily. Yeah.
Yet it's still in the DC universe because Suicide Squad was in it. We forget about that, but like it worked somewhat.
I mean, that's the thing, is it's done a really good job of being like, yeah, like this is absolutely going on in the DC universe, but it's not. It doesn't feel slavish to that shit, right? Like it's kind of like, in the limited experience I have with the classic Swamp Thing stuff, that's kind of how it felt then too, right? Where it's like, yeah, if we want to like involve Batman in this, we can, but we don't have to, So like when it supports the story or, by editorial mandate, it works out, right? But and in the hands of a lesser writer, that might not have gone so hot. But, we saw what Ron was able to do with that. So, yeah, it feels like they're able to kind of have their cake and eat it too, where, like, this doesn't, this could be the only thing you're pulling from DC, and, like, that's cool. But if not, like, to Marco's point, I think it's doing a really good job of adding to the mythology in a way that feels true and honors what's come before, but not feeling like it needs to retread that ground again and again and again, like at a certain point we got to move on and do something else, right? Or like, what are we doing, right? So it's cool to see that, because Swamp Thing's obviously a character that like has a ton of love and is definitely really popular. So it's nice to see that DC was willing to like do something bold, and like let Rom take a risk that paid off.
Yeah.
The one thing that I'm curious about is we saw Woodrue, the Floronic Man earlier, and I wondered to what extent that's the same Dr. Woodrue that we're seeing here. That was one other question that I had in my mind.
Yeah.
And but maybe his
up to some shit.
Personality is split or some shit.
Is it like Ivy, like where there's like, like the good and bad version? Because think about it, the one that we met in the green was nice and helpful, and this dude seems pretty fucking sinister.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's like
I thought he was sinister in the green too, though. Like I thought he was up to something there too.
I mean,
I don't trust Woodrue in anything though.
Yeah, but I mean, like he was trying to help. I can't remember her name. Levy's love interest,
Jennifer.
Yeah.
Until he found out that she was with Swamp Thing, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
That's true.
Then he flipped out.
Yeah. And
Marco,
before that, he was trying to help somebody, right? Like I don't know.
You think we ever see the Rot show up?
So like I was trying to figure out if that's what this was, right? Because like yes, desert, but also it's this mangled up corpse, and I think like an Earth avatar might be a little cheesy. Like if you're gonna expand into something, the Rot's the perfect place. So
bring Anton into this somehow.
Yo, if that'd be some crazy ass shit. Or what's her face? Because Abigail, because she's technically not.
She
I don't know
would be
what
the current
Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
So we'll see.
Well, I think hats off, major props to the creative team behind this book for killing it for 10 issues straight. It's not easy to contend with the market and to put out something that's really, really good, that feels special, but is also palatable for mainstream comics fans. I think it's a testament also to the fan base that they were able to stick with this, because it is kind of heady at times. And, I can see a lot of reasons why people might drop a book like this or never even pick it up. But I'm glad that it was successful. And of course, the reward for success in comics is getting to make more comics.
6 more issues.
Not all the time.
I really love the like, it's such a like classic comics like ad on the front where it's like, by popular demand extended to 16 issues, and it's like it's so fucking funny. Yeah,
it's awesome. I can't wait.
Wait. Show me that preview page again.
Yeah, you got it.
Wait, I don't have that.
The Great Machine. Is that
Wait,
is that gonna be extending into the whole Future's End thing with the machine?
Well, it doesn't have to, because the machines have their own thing.
Yeah.
Yo, wait, I don't have that in this book.
Don't
you dare admit that to Sean.
I missed
that. Come on.
I missed.
And also, we're getting another Swamp Thing book. The Black Label book comes out soon too.
Yeah,
so we're going to get a daily dose of Swamp Thing.
Who's working on that one?
Or a double dose. It's Lemire and the Green Lantern guy. We did Jeff Johns' Green Lantern.
Doug Mankey.
Doug Mankey. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Mankey
I was really. No.
I say Mankey like the Pokemon.
No disrespect.
As Doug Primate, yeah.
To Doug Primate, but I was really hoping that when you said the Green Lantern guy, you meant Liam Sharp.
No.
Ooh,
The other.
They're gonna say Ben Skyper. I'm like, yo, get him off this podcast.
So pull it. Although if you pull this, it's obviously you got to pull the rest. You can't just pull this issue.
Pull the TPB.
Do we know if there's a hardcover coming?
There's
definitely a soft cover.
There's a trade.
Yeah,
I want a hardcover that uses more paper.
not with where DC and Marvel are at with that stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
Pull it. Go pick up the trade. Get it. It's phenomenal. You won't be disappointed. That's a Pal's promise. We loved all the books here that we read today, but of course, we want to leave you guys with a little bit of a preview into our thoughts about what's coming out next week and what we recommend that you guys buy. So I will start to give you guys a little bit of time. Thing number 2.
Ooh,
okay.
I'm done. That's my pick.
Thing was a surprise. It knocked all of us
Riley
off
art,
our
right?
feet. Yep, Tom Riley, Walter Mosley, a newcomer to comics, not a newcomer to writing, but a newcomer to comics, who just dropped a bomb on us with that first issue. Can't wait to see what the team does next time.
I always like the out of continuity, but like sort of in continuity Thing stories. Yeah. I feel like the Thing is always that character to like, oh, we need to go back to a time where he wasn't happy, you know, like
right.
Yeah.
I'm genuinely very, very excited for that book. But in general, that's a thing that I'm like absolutely a sucker for. I love a good like period piece comic, you know? I'll eat that shit up every time.
Pete, you're not looking forward to Hulk number 2?
I haven't read number 1 yet, so I'm excited to see Otley's work. But you know, robot suit Hulk, so we'll see.
Yeah. For me, I have 2. First one is Wastelanders Wolverine number 1, written by Stephen S. DeKnight.
What?
With art by Ibrahim Mustafa, who did that Young Jean Grey miniseries.
Yes,
way back when.
I remember that.
So that's like an interesting team to be doing, like a kind of under the radar Old Man Logan story. This is the rejuvenation of the Old Man Logan universe, and I think there's 4 different series spinning out of it: Black Widow, Hawkeye,
Star-Lord,
right?
Star-Lord, yeah. And then this.
Stephen DeKnight. That's amazing.
Right? Daredevil.
Yes.
Showrunner for the first season or something like that. Yeah.
A Buffy alum as well.
Yes. Yep. And then the other one would be the Amazing Spider-Man number 81, because the cover shows Ben Reilly facing off against the Spider-Man of Brooklyn, which is Kane. So he has some clone on clone action. So I'm down for that. And I also like this whole Spider-Man Ben Reilly Beyond Corporation story has been goofy. Like it's not taking itself seriously at all. And the Beyond Corporation is the corporation that was a Next Wave, which they have all these weird kind of doohickeys and gadgets and technology that they have drop bears, which are flesh-eating koalas. Like that's the kind of stuff that's in this book.
I
appreciate that.
I read it, but it's thrice monthly or whatever it is. That's
just not only that, but it has like point issues as well.
And the point bays, which are ridiculous. Like I'm not doing that again. I did that 10 years ago with the big time stuff. You can't catch me twice.
I'm too old now.
Sean, you picking up Joker next week?
What?
Joker's next week.
What? I don't read that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, how dare you?
You don't read that. I'm actually really fun Commissioner Gordon book, but I don't read that.
I'm not allowed to read that. Yeah, I haven't bought every issue at $5.99. But I did want to point out that the Saga box set is dropping this week.
Yeah, we'll limit 1 per customer on Midtown Comics
by Brendan Vaughn, whoever that is. Brendan Vaughn, and Fiona Staples.
Wait, did he? It's really Brendan.
It says Brendan Vaughn.
That's
I'm sure it's a miss. Yeah, I'm sure it's a typo.
It's got to be.
It's just funny.
Why the Last Man did not flop that bad on TV? Come on.
It's funny. I point this out because obviously we know that Saga's on its way back. It's impending. If you haven't read Saga, or if you know someone who you think might like it, this would be a great gift to get.
I have a little Saga Shrine up there on my bookshelf.
Hey.
It's the box hardcover.
Beautiful.
Some pops, some Funko Pops, because I'm a friggin' mark.
You're a mark. Yeah, it's fine. We all are. Don't worry about it.
Some of us more than others.
Marco, did you have a pull that you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, bro. Eternals number 8.
What? Not Berserker?
I was waiting
Marco,
for you to say
where's
that.
Berserker?
Berserker. Well, the cover's not there, so I'm assuming
You said you were going to finish the whole series.
You're not picking up Elvira Vincent Price number 1?
No, not yet. I'm not there yet.
Sean's getting the cosplay cover.
Dude, Eternals is fun though. That Eternals book is so much better than the movie. Yeah.
And then Primordial 4. Nice. Good stuff.
You know what, guys? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say just a shout out for next week also. Strange Adventures, the full book, and then Rorschach as well, as they're both being collected and releasing next week.
It's King Day.
I would buy those. I would buy Saga, but my money's wrapped up because I'm buying the Spawn Compendium.
Let's go.
Please tell me you're
the
not
comments
doing
got
that.
to you.
Wait, what? Not the red carpet collection for the Hellfire Gala?
Wait, where's that? What's that?
Looks like a compendium or a trade for the Hellfire Gala.
Oh shit. All right, well, I have to get that.
You buy every awesome X-Men book no matter what.
Yeah.
How's the Ten of Swords book doing?
Oh, I gotta read that. That's a great idea. Yeah. Shit. Okay, cool. All right. Well, I gotta go read Ten of Swords Collected. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. We appreciate you for listening. Write in and let us know your thoughts. You can get us all over the place, social media at The Comics Pals, thecomicspals@gmail.com, youtube.com/thecomicspals, where you can help us out by subscribing to our channel. Help us get to 500 subscribers. We really appreciate all the support. It means the world. Listen to our main show, The Comics Pals, which drops every single Monday. Talk about the characters you love and all the places you can find them. We spoke to one of our favorite creators, Christopher Sabella, on the show this week. That interview is up now. We also talked a little bit about the Spider Madness that's been going on. Amy Pascal announcing a new trilogy coming, but do we believe it? The answer is no. Listen to our Wednesday image reviews. Drops every single Wednesday. This week, what did we review?
It was Made in Korea number 6 and Silver Coin number 7.
Yes.
Rom V joint.
There you go.
Yeah.
Great issue.
Exactly.
Check it out.
There you go. Thank you so much for listening. For the rest of these chuckleheads, I'm Sean saying until next week, take care, guys.
See you.